Well, we've already looked at why knowing where your horizon line is very important when digital compositing, but it becomes even more important when you are working with architecture. Both interiors and exteriors have a lot of perspective lines, and you're going to need to know not only where the horizon line is, but also where the vanishing point is. So when you have a picture like this, how do you go about finding your vanishing points? Well, first of all, we're going to use the line tool. So if you click on halfway down the draw section, it might look like a shape at first, but down in the toolbar you can click the line. Make sure it's set to no arrowhead, and you can pick a color that's going to be very vibrant and show up. We'll pick a bright blue. And for the width, set that to 1 pixel. Then you're going to go onto your image and look for some orthogonal lines going into the distance. You will, it's easier to do this if you zoom in on the picture so that your line can be nice and accurate. You will click and hold on one end of the orthogonal line, and then you can move over and a line will be drawn as you move. So you line that line up so that it is as accurate as you can make it. And once you let go, the computer will draw that line. Now, don't worry if you didn't go far enough with the line, because this is a smart object. So if you click on the arrow tool, you can drag by the corner to resize it, and you can see that that does not change the angle of the line. The line stays at exactly the same spot. You're just making it longer. So you can easily make it long enough so that it goes off the edge of the page or off your image. Then you're going to find another orthogonal line and do the same thing. And your goal is to find where these lines intersect. Now at this line I really should have made a little bit longer, because when you stretch it like that, it does sometimes resize it. It does make it a little bit larger as well. And we don't want the lines to get too big. This one you can see is significantly larger than the other. You can pick probably 3 different lines is enough to figure out where these are going to intersect. Just to make things easier to organize, I'm going to suggest that you then take those lines, hold down Shift to select the 3 of them, and then right-click and go down to Group from Layers. And that will put the 3 of them into a single group. I'm going to call it perspective lines. This makes them take up a lot less room, and you can easily affect all of them at once, either hiding them when you don't need them or changing the opacity. So it's just an easy way to keep things more organized. Now chances are your lines are going to meet off of your image, and that makes it hard to figure out where your vanishing point should be exactly. So you're going to want to go up to Image and then down to Resize and Canvas Size. And here you can make your canvas wider so that you have room to actually see where the lines intersect, and then you can actually put a single dot there so that you know exactly where your vanishing point is. And it might be worthwhile to drag down a guide from the top ruler just so that you have something telling you exactly where your horizon line is. So now let's take a look at how you'd use these lines to add in elements that are going to be affected by perspective. So I've added a door here already, and I want to apply it to the existing wall. So you want to make sure that you get the orthogonal lines that match the top and bottom of where you want to put this new element. I've already got mine up here. So what I'm going to do is move the image over until it lines up with the edge that's closest to the viewer. Then you're going to resize it so that the top and bottom corners match the height. So see, the top and bottom corners both line up with those blue lines I put in. I'm going to reduce the opacity a little bit just so that I can see what's behind it. Then with the selection tool selected, right-click, go to Free Transform. The first thing we're going to do is move it in so that it lines up with the edge of that window there. That's how far I want it to go. Don't worry that we've compressed it. Then I'm going to select the Skew option, and I'm going to grab each corner and move it up so that the top and bottom line up with those orthogonal lines we drew in. And then that's really it. You turn it on, and now you have a door that's in the proper perspective for that wall. You can use a similar technique for adjusting a three-dimensional object, something where you can see two sides of it. This object, for example, does not match the horizon line. I could just move it down so it does fit the horizon, but let's say that I need it where it is. I'm going to use the line tool to mark out where the bottom of the box hits the horizon line, and then I'll draw a line from that point to the top corner. And now that line becomes the guideline for where the top should actually be. So now we're going to draw a selection box that only captures the right-hand side of the box. So our left edge should line up with the corner on the left, and then we just have to make sure that the right-hand side of the box fits within our selection. Then we'll go to Free Transform and to Distort. Then it's a matter of moving the corner boxes on the right up and down until the tops of the crate match the guidelines that we placed. Now when we move the top, the bottom's going to shift a little bit, so we're going to have to kind of go back and forth until you get them to the position that you want. Then you do exactly the same thing to the other side. And there you go. You now have something that's got the correct perspective for the horizon line that you've set. That technique of just selecting one side of the square also works really well when it's time to adjust the lighting.